Hello, my name is Lilly Bermúdez. I am here representing the Office of the Dean of Students, and I want to talk to you about student conduct and our care team. First of all, faculty and staff members are key in maintaining a safe campus. You're at the front lines, as we say. So we would expect for you to define your behavioral expectations for your class or your office and apply them consistently. For this, it is important that you learn what our behavioral expectations are, our standards of student conduct. And you can do that by looking at our Student Code of Conduct and Student Handbook online, and towards the end of the presentation, I will make sure that you have links to those sections. Also, we expect for you to model the behavior that you expect from your students. Now, when a situation of misconduct or perceived misconduct arises, we recommend that you talk to students privately about these issues. It makes the conversation flow easier, and it gives the student a reprieve from ears that don't need to be involved in the conversation. Also, when you don't know how to address an issue, please connect with the Office of the Dean of Students. Myself and the Dean of Students are happy to guide faculty and staff into this type of conversations. We know that it's not easy to have a difficult conversation with a student, but with our experience in this field, we can definitely help you there. Now, whenever you need to actually file a complaint, because sometimes a conversation with a student will solve the issue, but if the issue is not solved that way, please file a complaint with our office, and please include specific details. This happened, it happened here, it happened this time, it happened once or twice. This other staff member, faculty, or student can confirm the information, etc. Please stick to the facts. Refrain from giving us opinions about what happened. Just tell us what happened, and we will approach you with those questions later. We ask that you specify a preferred outcome when possible. For instance, a student needs to be removed from class. The student needs to apologize. Now, we cannot guarantee that that outcome that you suggested will take place, but we will do our best depending on the situation. Something important to remember is that the student conduct process is always going to be educational in nature, not punitive. We reserve severe conduct outcomes for severe cases, which thankfully we do not get too much of. Now, the conduct process is not based on the legal system or legal criteria, and that's very important to remember. Often students think that it is, and it does not. We use something called a preponderance of the evidence, which means if something is more likely to have happened than not, we assign responsibility, but our process as a whole is based on dialogue, available evidence, and again, a focus on an education for the student. Another area under the umbrella of the Dean of Students Office is the Campus Assessment Response and Education Team, or CARE team. Now, this team identifies, assesses, and monitors students displaying moderate to extreme levels of concerning behavior. And what does that mean? As staff and faculty, you know what your student's normal is. So when a student begins to behave outside of that normal, they are angry all the time, they stop going to work, they stop going to class, they are not taking care of themselves. They're beginning to share thoughts, comments regarding hurting themselves or others. At that point, we consider that there's a concern about that student that we hope that you share with us. And I'm going to go into what kind of signs to look for in a student. Now, our goal is to implement timely interventions that protect the welfare of the student and the safety of the university community. Now, the CARE team is made up of staff and faculty across campus, and this helps us get a very good idea of the big picture for a student's situation and how to help them. And our goal is to implement timely interventions that protect the welfare of the university and the safety of the students as well. So it is best to report your concerns sooner rather than later. If you're hesitant, if you're like, I don't know, this may not be a big deal, but it may be. In those cases, we recommend that you have a conversation with a member of the team. You can always connect with me, and we can talk about the situation and have a better understanding of what's going on with the student. But if you send us a report, if you have a concern and you send us a report, that already helps us have an idea of what is happening with the student. We already know who to talk to in those cases. So never hesitate to file a report of concern. Sometimes it's nothing. Sometimes the student just, you know what, I started a new diet this week and I'm feeling grumpy, or I broke up with my boyfriend or girlfriend. That's fine. Sometimes it could be, no, I really am having suicidal thoughts. I really am struggling. I'm deep into depression and anxiety. Whatever it is the case, it is better to have a conversation earlier than much later when things are graver. And in the screen, you'll see some concerning behaviors or behaviors of concern. So I hope that you take a moment here to pause the recording and take a look at this list. Now, how do you go about submitting a concern form? The moment you notice that there's something off about a student, the moment you are like, yes, I am concerned about this person, go online, the link is right here, and submit a referral form. Give us as much information as you can that will help us in figuring out what we need to do for the student. And remember that when you do, the student is not automatically in trouble. That this is not about getting a student in trouble, but getting the student the resources that they need to succeed at OCU. Now, what happens after you submit a report of concern? The care team might reach back to you and ask you for follow-up questions, or ask you if you've observed the students showing the same signs of concern, etc. Sometimes we are able to do that, but sometimes we will not be able to explain to you what happened after your form was submitted, because the students are entitled to the privacy of their records, and without their written approval, I cannot share some of those details with you. But for the most part, we will let you know if the student has been assisted. Now, even if online referrals can be anonymous, we often discourage faculty and staff from sending anonymous reports, because at times we need to continue to hear back from you. Sometimes I need to go back and ask you direct questions about the students. So we encourage you that even though it is possible to submit anonymous reports, to please share your contact information with us. That would help the case much more. Sometimes you'll go through situations in which there's an imminent, immediate, present threat to the student's welfare or those around the students. You learn that a student is about to commit suicide. You learn that a student is threatening the wellness of others in a classroom. At that point, do not wait and call our OCU Police Department. The emergency numbers and the non-emergency numbers are on the screen. Sometimes it's just a matter of having a conversation with the student. Sometimes it's a false alarm, but it is best to be ready to make that call than to call after something horrible has happened. Now, two key documents here are the Student Code of Conduct and the Student Handbook. Take a moment and locate them in our website. Give them a quick read, especially the Student Code of Conduct. It takes about 18 to 20 minutes to read, because that tells you these are the standards of behavior that we hold our students to, so that you understand what is and what is not appropriate student behavior and how to report misbehavior. The Student Handbook contains information about services across campus. If there is something that you would like to see that is not there, please let me know. But it is a good summary of everything that the student has use of, or everything that is of interest to the student. Please feel free to connect directly with the Office of the Dean of Students if you have questions about any of these processes and tools. Again, my name is Lilly Bermúdez, the Associate Dean of Students. I function as the Lead Conduct Officer at the university and the Chair of the Care Team. My contact information is on screen. Welcome to OCU.